Yes, welcome back. Loony listeners, you are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 281, and it is a panel discussion on the latest and greatest from the Moon Knight TV show. You are surrounded by high priests, low priests of Khonshu. So joining the discussion, hi, I'm Ray. Of course, Rebecca, hello, how are you?
Morning, good.
Morning,
Awake.
very morning for you. Returning after a long stint away. It's great to have them back. Connorshu, welcome back.
Hello. It is good to be back in the recording seat. Brought out of retirement, wheeled out, going back on the mic. Can't wait.
Got the face mask happening, just sucking in the gas, and the self-appointed low priest, Knol. How you going?
Hey.
Knol, the left drape, left drape,
the best drape.
deep and sexy as always.
Glad it's self-appointed. I thought he was just dissing someone, but just randomly, like we wouldn't know which one of us was the low priest.
No. We co-opted Knol.
But we're all here, Loony listeners, as mentioned. It's a panel discussion. Generally, this is what we do after a reaction episode. Rebecca and I went through episode 4 and just could not have Connorshu in on this, and Knol as well, because Knol joined us for our screeners. So we had seen the first 4 episodes previously, but it was just so exciting. We knew this was a turning point in the series. So to get everyone back, and Connorshu, your thoughts, Connorshu, as well on the show. How have you been finding it overall? Like,
I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's obviously, I've listened to episodes, I've seen everyone talking about it online. This, I feel like above all else, this series has gotten everyone talking. Like, I feel like a divisive show does a lot to really get what people see, and like Discord I've been in, there's been a lot of love, been a lot of hate, but I love it. I think it's Moon Knight. I also think, if you're joining this, you can see my my profile picture is a suited up, Power Ranger sort of character. I feel it has that sort of vibes. I feel like there's a lot of fun, capering in this. And, I've really just been enjoying that. And then we hit this episode, and Rebecca warned me in advance she would not stop telling me to get excited for 4. And then I was there, live reactions, and here we are. What an episode.
We will certainly get into it. As mentioned, we did kind of a surface level reaction, but Rebecca and I, we held back on a lot of the theories and Easter eggs, stuff like that. So
you did a good job of not spoiling stuff. I can see in some of those other reactions, Ray was like biting his lower lip. Like,
It was so hard.
Good theory, dude. Yeah.
So I said to Ray, I listened to the last one. I was like, I don't know how you stonewall some of that. Like, that might happen.
I'm good at poker,
Yeah.
Before any of that, of course, a huge thank you to all our patronies. Thank you so much, everyone, for making the show what it is today. And big thanks to our principal sponsors, Drew Toombs, Daniel Doing, Frank the Tank. I'm going to call out as well our top tier patroni as well, Odin Sword. They have a great podcast in their own right as well called Drinking Marvel, all to do with Marvel and beer. So I'll put that in the show notes as well. But a big shout out to Odin Sword too. CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics from Schaumburg, Illinois. How do we? Oh, hang on. Let me just. I'll pop in our opening little transition thing and let's get cracking.
I love it.
Let's do it.
Yep. There was Mooney, guest appearance by Mooney. A big shout out also as well to Joel, who sent in the first live comment. Hello, Joel. Good to have you with us as well. But how do we start this thing?
Start at the top. Let's just start at the top and go through it.
Okay. So
as best we can to try not to skip around, but
exactly.
I see an Aussie tail.
That's an Aussie tail, yeah.
How about since Connorshu wasn't there for the screeners, Connorshu, what immediately kind of jumped out for you then for episode 4? What was the big?
The whole thing, or just the start of the episode?
Oh yeah, I should do the start. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe the start. Yeah.
I have something to say about the very start.
Do you?
Okay.
Yeah. So the beetle. that we
yes. Yep.
at the very, very start.
Yeah. In our screener, it was just like a white blob that flew by.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
really?
apparently,
Yeah. It wasn't
apparently
completed.
this is a possible sign of Ra, who
Hmm.
appears
Oh.
as a beetle, a falcon, and a ram/goat at the time. I'm not going to go into why the goat thing is historical goats
I forgot about the
versus
goat was there.
current
Great
goats.
goat.
And
Goats.
when we do see the goat, we can see the
Rah.
sunlight through his horns. So I think that
Oh,
might be
wow.
a concrete sign that Ra is in play.
Because we
Hmm.
got sorry, Connorshu, to sidetrack you. You know, I did ask you at the beginning as well.
But
we got
Ray's got
mentions.
something to say.
We got mentions of the goat as well prior, episode 3
Yeah.
as well. 2, sorry, 2. With Stephen and Arthur Harrow. Going,
Oh, that
is that a goat?
reworked part of London. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry, Connorshu. The beginning.
The beginning.
Sorry.
Well, I think this episode certainly reaches a point where we'll get into that's crazy exciting. But I love the start. I love. I think we start with kind of like weird wife relationship, kind of incel Steven and Mark stuck in the head, chatting up his wife. I thought that was really great. I think
Yeah.
I think the main thing is episode 2, was it, where Layla was first introduced?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought she kind of didn't have a lot to do in that episode, so I was like, oh, how do we feel about this? But by episode 4, she's an absolute star. She might be like my favorite thing of the show now. Like, just what a leading actress that tops a lot than Marvel has seen before, quite honestly. Like, I really do love her, and so much of the best stuff in the start of this episode, the zombie fight, the dealing with Harrow, that was just her leading it. So big shout out to her, just phenomenal.
Yeah, she really gets to show off her acting chops here, and I loved it. I mean, I think Benson and Moorhead, because I think they're the ones that directed this episode. Yeah, they really had a lot of close-up shots of Layla, and she can really convey a lot with her expressions of her face. And I think they use that to good effect, as well as, I mean, everything else that she does. There's actions. I was kind of looking at her, seeing if she was a stunt person when she was scaling that rock ledge. That was her. I mean, I know it's not like thousands of meters deep, but she still had to kind of do the, traverse the crevice.
Look like she's balancing and all that.
Yeah.
One of my notes is like, I wish Marlene in the comics was more like Layla now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they
had
did a
more
nice job
agency.
of updating it. Yeah.
But she just has more agency. Not only is it more sort of appropriate for the story and all that, but she Marlene doesn't not kick ass sometimes. Yeah, but she's much more.
And she also demands it as well. Like when Stephen was saying about the deal he made with Mark to go away once the Connorshu stuff was gone, and she was like, "You decided that without asking me." It's like kind of like, this is my husband. I should have a say in this.
Well, yeah, it's their relationship, isn't it? So it's not only between Mark and Stephen. Joel here says Layla with a flare. I know Joel loved
that was
Layla
another
with
one
a
of
flare.
Scene. That was so sick.
I think I said her superhero name would be Flare Girl.
Yeah.
She did use
my note
a
was
lot of
flares really fuck people up in fiction, I guess.
She did use flares a lot, but as you said, Rebecca, in the reaction episode, I mean, that's all she's got. It's not like she's got a case full of guns or whatever, so she's making do with what she had. But how about that opening like gambit with her having to roll Stephen down the hill, and then
I did that drunk in the hills of Seattle one time. It was pretty funny.
And then avoid gunfire, and then hide in the Jeep. And then there's this little shot as well where there's a close-up of her again, like one of the first close-ups, where she's kind of wincing because she knows the danger that she's going to put herself in. She stands with a flare, basically face-to-face with this Jeep with a machine gun, and she's just hoping that it will draw attention. But pretty risky move. I mean,
her acting and all of that stuff was super great. The way it played out, it was a little convenient, I guess.
Oh, the flare on the
back.
bullets.
Well, also who wouldn't look? Yeah, the flare thrown in the bullets. Flares wouldn't do that. Also,
exactly.
And just like, wouldn't you check the back of the truck?
Yes,
it's like the first place you would check. But she can't die yet, so I understand why it was written that way. But even I remember watching the first time and then watching again once it aired. I was like, Yeah, that doesn't really work, but okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
And so good as well that Stephen/Mark looks so dead, because otherwise they would have picked him up. But they said, yeah, he looks dead. So, so that was a bit of a godsend, so to speak. Yeah, so we get, and this is not the only thing that Layla does. So once Stephen/Mark wakes up again, as we mentioned, they make their way towards the tomb. They find the site, which is an abandoned site, where Layla says that Harrow and his men have been there first, and let's go check for supplies, which I thought was pretty cool. It was kind of like a video game. Let's get some water bottles. Let's get some guns.
Get some more flares.
See a lot of blood for some foreshadowing.
Yeah. But there's the I guess at that particular instance, there's that relationship, as you said, Connorshu, with Mark and Stephen. There's the, I'd like to call it like the Bemis-like relationship of one of the alters, fighting over, Layla in this instance.
And him being, Mark being mad at Stephen and punching him in the face was maybe the low-key funniest thing I've seen in any Mark. To me, that just made me laugh. So it's just a dumb little moment.
Yeah.
But it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I mean, the kiss and all that was it was a little cringy, right?
Yeah. How did you find the kiss? Like Connorshu as well? Because Rebecca and I mentioned it. No, we mentioned it in the reaction.
I'm not allowed to talk about kisses and Oscar Isaac.
Well, I mean, it's no kiss like out of Ex Machina, but I think I like that it was so awkward. That was kind of really worked to show how complicated that is, and it really made me laugh because obviously Stephen is just absolutely useless with women, and put Oscar Isaac in a position. It doesn't seem right, but it's good acting on his part, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can tell, and he's kind of so nervous to the point where she leans in for the first time, and he kind of backs away because he's you put it down to nerves, and he blurts out what will later on become quite important for Mark. He lets Layla know that Mark is protecting her, basically, because of Connorshu's. I was about to say Connorshu's, because of Connorshu's.
I have no part in this.
But yeah, Stephen is a little bit awkward in that, and then when he leans in, because there's that little interplay with honesty or something, being honesty. I think she says. Yeah. And then so he kind of plucks up some courage and goes, okay, I'm going to go for it. But yeah, you can see the awkwardness. I loved it, as I mentioned in the reaction episode, Layla's reaction to that kiss. She's kind of like, thank you, but oh gosh, that was...
let's get on with it.
This is awkward.
Although she tried to kiss him earlier, or she was moving in.
She did,
earlier, so.
Realized her mistake.
Maybe he just had a loose eyelash.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, true. Well, she was smelling him. You smell nice. You smell like him.
Some people have like been a little down on that part, but I thought they were like, "Oh, it was so awkward." Like it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's obviously weird,
Added also to the fact that perhaps Mark is a good kisser, so Layla's kind of like, "Oh, this is the same person, but how come he's like not kissing me as good as potential?" That sort of stuff. So
and maybe it just came to realize, she's like, I got comfortable with this whole DID thing really quickly. Now it's starting to give me the heebie-jeebies having to kiss.
Now it's a bit weird, eh?
It's a different person, I guess.
Yeah. But a couple of, let's call out a few Stevenisms as well. There's that big thing where Steven's talking to Mark, and he's going, Mark's really angry at him because he's been, he's in love with Layla.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen tries to get away. Say, okay, mate. Okay, that's okay. All right. Yeah. If ever I need a recipe for a protein shake, I'll call you.
I got laughed.
I'm glad they kind of kept that up, because that made the payoff, like at the sort of the whatever we call it, the last third, when they see each other. That felt more sort of like they're getting to know each other more, so which felt that all the little back and forth ever since kind of the second episode have really built to a payoff in this episode.
Oh yeah, they're very antagonistic towards each other, all the way up to the point. So
it feels like brothers, though. Having a brother myself, it's like that's sometimes the sort of like we obviously love each other and like we actually get along very, very well. But not just for siblings, we're like good friends. But there's been times growing up where we would just give each other so much shit like that.
I'd imagine. Yeah, I'd imagine. And speaking of brothers, if we jump to the very end, apparently Oscar Isaac's brother played the extra in the asylum.
He has been all along.
Oh, well.
All along. Oh yeah. So.
Yeah, whenever he's been playing with himself, the scene in the bathroom scene at the end of episode 1
Rebecca
has been him and his brother.
Sorry.
Just waiting for that laugh to come out. But no, you're right. All the way back to episode 1, for sure. But yeah, I mean, you were just mentioning that embrace in the asylum. I guess that was pretty
beautiful moment.
It was cool.
It really did.
And I was just kind of thinking, like, oh, this is so cool because the Oscar's literally looking at his brother while he's doing that.
Yeah,
it'd be And his brother, I don't know how good an actor his brother is, but he's probably like pulling a face or I don't know. Trying to
Oscar said in interviews, he's like, my brother is the best actor. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
That's just nice.
Joel has just mentioned he can't wait for that behind the scene footage. So, Rebecca, you mentioned Assembled. I think you posted it up, I think.
Yeah, it's coming the week after the episode, so the 11th of May. So we'll hopefully get to see some of that behind the scene footage. Hopefully of that hug scene, because that would be amazing.
Yeah. I will be checking.
Sorry. He was playing... well, never mind. We'll talk about it later.
No. I was about to ask Connorshu had you been catching those Assembled documentaries as well?
No, but I will certainly watch this one.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said as well. I haven't been. I know, Rebecca, that you.
I told him off.
Rebecca sends me the best bits anyway. It's okay.
Yeah. So we're at the face of the tomb, and in they go. Now, does anyone know the significance of the number that Layla puts on? Is that a number?
No, that was
that's
that's
initials.
The initial. Okay.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, I was wondering if it was just, the symbol was her father's initials as a.
I think it's her father's initials.
It's just like a big ups.
It looked like. Yeah, it looked like 31, but yeah, I mean that was connected to her. Yeah, to her dad.
And we have the big statue of Bast there as well, right?
Yeah.
Sure looks like it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I can't imagine any other god. Not that I really know that much about the Egyptian gods, but Bast is the only panther-like one.
I think somebody's compared it to where you see Bast in Wakanda, and it's the Bast statues in Wakanda, and it's pretty bang on. So
yeah. So interesting. There was a comment that Layla made. I don't know if it has anything to do with it. It may have a double meaning or not, but. So Stephen and Layla, they talk about Layla's dad and his death, unfortunately, and Stephen's really sad to hear it. Layla says something along the lines of, archaeology, tomb raiding, it's not too good, like, for your health or something, or like, you always end up dying. And then she goes, let's find out. So whether that's a premonition of, things to come, or whether that's a little message, if we're looking at this whole thing as being in Mark's mind, by the third act when it's all an asylum, and we question whether all of this is actually real, whether that's, I don't know, playing into it. I don't know.
Also for that, as they go in the tomb, we see all the crows or ravens, which could be so apparently the crow is Nephthys's animal, and she's essentially a goddess of death, another presaging. I was hoping we'd see a falcon so we'd get Ra's final, but I am not.
We did get the goat, though. So.
We did get the goat, yeah.
Yeah, not Mephisto.
And Stephen falling into the cave, which was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny.
He was like, what is this spelunking, whatever the word was. And then, poof. Quite funny.
Yeah, a far cry from Mark, for sure. They enter the, this kind of part of the tomb, which...
The maze.
Is that before or after? Oh, no, that's before. Yeah, the maze, which has the 6 points to it.
Yeah, the Eye Horus. When I saw that again, because when we watched it, it was kind of still not great
Yep.
quality, but I was like,
apparently,
I want to be one of those corny people and get an Eye of Horus tattoo somewhere.
That Eye of Horus looks cool.
Apparently, so again, from my friend on Twitter, apparently someone has pointed out that it's actually an Eye of Ra. Which is essentially the same but laterally reversed. So they think it's probably production. Since they had Egyptology advisors on board, she thinks it's probably just a little bit of a fumble. But hey.
Oh, you mean it's mirrored? It's mirrored, is it? Maybe so it's also, meant to be like
And also like we have to remember Stephen is just a lay expert. He's not he's not Egyptologist.
He's just an enthusiast. Yeah.
So that could have also be an easy mistake to make. But I thought I didn't know that was the significance of the eye. So that was a cool explanation for me.
Kind of, except for how would Arthur Harrow not know that? That was the one thing that kind of got me there. It's like, okay, cool. That's it's just some fun fiction kind of nonsense way to figure out. But I mean, tied into Egyptian mythology, of course. Which is cool. Yeah. But you think if Arthur Harrow had been searching so long for this tomb that he could figure out maybe the same thing better than the novice.
But I think maybe the implication is that he was just too quick to go in or he could have sent flunkies down every path.
Like, I've got a scarab, so that will get me.
Exactly.
It didn't get me there.
Maybe he's just relying on that scarab and not really thinking things through. But so we enter. I mean, that was great. One of the things that came up for me for that scene, the way Stephen at the end he goes, and that bit is the tongue. And he kind of hung it from me. I said, do English people hang on tongue? Do they do that?
I mean, that sounds so wrong again. But no, not especially.
No, okay. But really cool and a little bit of a bit of education there about knowing what each thing means. I'm assuming there's some sort of accuracy in that as well, which is cool. Like thought, sight, what was it? Smell, tongue. Tongue. Yeah. So they're going through there, and then we get to this other bit. It is like a sacrificial altar or something, or some sort of
just looks like a table.
Post-mortem, like an autopsy
preparation table, prep table.
Yeah, prep table.
Just a really, really dirty OR table.
Yeah.
It has meaty bits on it.
Meaty bits
of bone.
Gross.
But I would have imagined there would have been a whole heap of potential Easter eggs here, or maybe some subtle clues. I don't know if anyone picked any. There was a whole line of those the sorcerers. Yeah. I think they were the victims, right? Were they the victims that anyone that came in? They apparently did away with them.
I thought they were. I don't know. I thought they were just the sorcerers.
They were. They could have been. Yeah. But there were also the little canisters where all the innards kind of go. They had Egyptian heads on there too. I'm assuming
the whole scene was pretty dark. It was kind of hard to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, if somebody would go through it with a high res, I'm sure they could pick out a lot of things. But to me, it was just like, this is weird to kind of have a storage room full of body parts and stuff, even with like shelving that someone could hide on. Like, they built shelving way back then. That was convenient.
Yeah, like that upper mezzanine level with all the other stuff in there as well. I mean, Stephen calls it out.
There's probably a bone armor suit in there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember buying half of this shit.
But we get kind of the first, I guess, inkling of more so of in-your-face horror, because that introduction of the sorcerer with the clicky,
the blue dude was
noises.
Creepy.
Yeah,
it was,
super creepy.
It's the creepiest blue dude I've seen since Arrested Development.
And you just see him blurred out in the background as Layla is doing, investigating. So pretty creepy, and the fact that it's so close to Layla as well, and she has to kind of hide and crouch around it again. May getting to do a lot of the work here.
Do you guys find it a little? Well, sorry. Do you find it a little frustrating that they keep kind of blurring out the most scary bits? And I don't know if it's for effect or if it's for Disney, but like with the creatures before, we never got a really good look at one of it, even so much where they made them invisible in one episode.
Yeah,
I mean that's I imagine there's a lot of that's budgetary as well, like the easiest way to save on CG is to have most of it not there. But I think that I didn't love the jackal. I haven't been on talk about it. I thought like,
yep.
You know, if you're just a CGI monster, just have some more people to throw fisticuffs out, especially if you maybe don't have the budget to put that in there. But I like these. I felt like you're moving around in the dark a lot. I think that adds to a very almost kind of like predator slasher sort of vibe.
Right. Yeah. Like the bits we see in the sound design, especially like you were saying, right, with the clicking and stuff, was really creepy and cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of it, we just like the most we see of it is when she shoves the flare in its eye. And even then, it's not that lit up. If you had a flare in your eye, your face would be pretty bright.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she takes off the mask, right? They've got these like face masks, so you get to see which really is not much difference. I mean, why is he wearing that mask? They look exactly the same. But
blue dude and a blue dude mask.
Emaciated blue dude with big eyes.
I think I'd rather see them a little blurry than if they don't look great.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm and we don't know. But just because I think if they look a bit silly, that it would take you out of the horror of it. But I do agree, the blurring for me is like you kind of want to see it all, like all the details as much as you can. But then, if they can't make it look as good as I think Connorshu looks,
yeah, that's where they've clearly put the money.
Yes.
Like Connorshu looks amazing.
Yeah. That bit in the storage container thing where Stephen runs into the back of Connorshu. The lighting is brilliant in that particular shot. I was about to say with the blurring, I just took it as potentially Moorhead and Benson just doing that power of suggestion, for horror, where you don't necessarily have to see the violence or the freakishness, but it's just the leave it to your imagination, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I can see that being obscured in that way, like when she's hiding sort of below the table and you can just see bits of it, or when it's kind of coming up to get Steven and you can just kind of see its hands.
Oh, the freaky when it just jumps up like a bug or something. Yeah.
And so I can see it in that way, but like I feel like there's got to be at least one good shot. You're going to get one good shot of Jason Voorhees' mask or whatever, whatever it means. There's got to be one, and they just haven't quite. I think that's where maybe the budget. It's like, it works for us sort of practically because the budget, so we can make it kind of use those tropes to make it more creepy. But then when it comes to the point where you got to get sort of the money shot or whatever, it sort of falls flat.
Well, I actually thought, how we saw the screeners and they say it's all unfinished. I think I suggested it to you, Rebecca. I thought that there would be more CGI sorcerers, more and
mummies.
And so we only saw the one, but I thought maybe there would be a few like crawling around. But no, there
were. What else are they fighting and shooting guns at? Like
I know, right? We still don't know, and there's a lot of gunshot.
Harrow's men. Who were they shooting at?
Oh, I was assuming
just this one.
No, I always assumed that there were. I was assuming that they don't say, but I thought. Sorry, Connorshu.
Oh yeah, that was my assumption as well. That there was just like a bunch of them off screen.
Messing shit up,
being rude.
Or if they took the wrong paths, maybe there were more things to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I think about more and more, it does very much seem like a budget thing because we only see the one, the one going around, and then
trust me, AT Great would have a lot more guys going.
But I mean, that was cool as well. I can't not say I squished it.
Yeah, that was
pretty much what I used to say when I squish bugs before I stopped squishing them.
Yeah,
that's what I say about the 6-year-old.
So we get we turn away. We get Layla going towards. She runs around the corner and she almost falls over into the bottomless pit. Takes out one of her flares, of course, and chucks it in. Sees how deep it is. Of course, it just disappears, so we don't know how deep. Then she scales away across. I can't remember again in the screen. Was there a hand that came out of the rock? There was. Okay, finished, I was half thinking. Okay, so that was finished. But as she's going across, again, a little bit of horror, and again the power of suggestion. I think she gets pulled in by one, and you only hear bits and pieces here and there. She goes out, comes back in. Gets thrown back in.
They have the fight. Yeah, she almost gets stabbed by his pointy bits.
Yeah. Interesting also. Noel, around this time though, I would like to ask you, because when we discussed it, after watching for the first time with the screeners, you mentioned, oh, it's a bit long. Did you feel that same time around?
I heard you guys talk about that the other, and it's not because I'm glad there's a lot of focus on Layla here. I actually enjoy that, but I feel like that moment wasn't like a character building moment for me. It was just like, it wasn't even that really good of action, actually.
Yeah, okay.
It was, and it just dragged on for a long, like she get pulled in and pulled out again and pulled again and pulled out. It's like, we only have so much time. I would like to see maybe Moon Knight in this fucking Moon Knight episode. That would be nice. No, okay, well maybe next time. So I feel like there was a lot of things that could have actually in this whole episode for me that could have ended up on the chopping room floor to make it a smoother episode. And that whole bit going across the little ledges, whatever, which took a long time. I was starting to get like when we watched it the first time, and it happened again when I watched it again when it aired. I was like, well, at least this time I know something crazy is coming later because it's just so boring. This is so boring.
Tomb Raider sequence.
I mean, I love the Indiana Jones films, but that's when that part doesn't feel like that to me.
Okay.
It doesn't have that harrowing sort of like he's using his whip, but then drops his hat, some stupid thing like that. It was just kind of like, okay, I'm scaling along here in a monster craft.
No, fair enough. That's I guess you can't fault that as well. So Rebecca, we got one of the fans of yours, Moonlit Comics. So I guess just live. Hello, and that's
the best.
I was about to say that's the most consistent thing, Rebecca. You're always called out as the favorite, so that's that's without a doubt.
We bow down before her.
You're all deluded, but I love you all.
And of course, I'm assuming that's Russell. There's a duckling in there.
There's hey!
Fantastic.
There's a duckling right here, baby. There's a creepy guy named Uncle Sam outfitted in a
nice
axe.
I was about to say also as well, Noel, to be fair as well, remember Moon Knight is essentially gone because Khonshu's gone, so we only have Mark.
Moon Knight's gone in the Moon Knight show.
So at least for this episode, immediately because Khonshu's been entombed. But I understand we could have, potentially have gone for say more Mark or more Stephen stumbling action wise,
or more of the last third.
Or more.
Spend more time on that.
We'll talk about that when we get there. Some of my feelings on that, but
but kind of lingering then in that kind of rock ledge, there's a nice little interaction with Arthur Harrow and Layla again. And again, acting chops to May Calamoe.
Which I learned this week was her suggestion.
Oh, really?
Oh. Yeah. Apparently,
it's so collaborative.
Apparently, she and Ethan were talking, and she was like going, "I think we should have more. Like, we should talk more. Like, there should be an interaction there." And because she was like, obviously, the newest actor of them, or the least established amongst this triumvirate, and so then Ethan took it to the higher ups and said, "Me and May have been talking, and we think this." And then they kind of hashed out like this scene. So
it kind of gives you that warmth. So it gives you that warmth. I mean, because Ethan in his interviews always talks about how they were so open to stuff, and same with Maze. And like you suggest something to Marvel, and there was no arguing or no, opposition. It's okay, let's try this out.
And some of the best exposition of the whole episode, if not,
it was beautifully done. Yeah, I mean, just and her reactions really cemented how good her acting is.
And it really teed up later, having her realize that Mark was part of her father's death in some way. It just made that hit a lot harder. It was really smart.
Yeah.
And having her separate from Mark when she learns it as well, so she has to carry that with her to that confrontation.
Yeah. It was very hard to not do that. So, but Connorshu, just because we hadn't had you over for say episodes 1 to 3 as well, just your brief thoughts on the lack of Moon Knight. Was this an issue for you? Like, up to this point?
I wouldn't say it was an issue until this episode. Like, I loved how they did in the first episode, lead up to the finale. That was a great way to end episode 1. Episode 2, it's good as well. I really liked it in episode 3. It mentioned the sort of Power Rangers. It felt very Kamen Rider to me. But there was a point where he, shouted out that he wanted to be in the suit, and then you had a really great in the suit fight, and I think it'd been fine for me. This episode was definitely the strangest part. It just seems like maybe it was a design constraint. They didn't realize too late to make the suit invincible. Like, it's bulletproof and all that. So obviously you can't have that for power scaling all the time. But it just wonders if they introduced that and realized later they fucked it up instead. They'd just been like, okay, this is just a pretty strong suit, and then we could have had it the rest of the show, or maybe they want it less to have a really great finale with it. I don't know. I think episodes 1 to 3 was fine. Losing it at the end of episode 3 was a very strange moment that then sort of became lost, because the way they end this episode, it's like, I don't need the suit. This is still plenty Moon Knight for me. This is still plenty juicy. So
yeah. I mean,
and it's on par for a lot of MCU stuff too. We're forgetting this is a TV show stretched out, but I've been mentioning this a lot to people lately who have I would love to see more Moon Knight all the time. Yeah. I'm a Moon Knight fan. I'm not of this version of Steven necessarily. I mean, I am now, but I wasn't this version of Steven fan. I'm not,
Yeah.
But most of the MC, Iron Man 3, he's in the suit
barely,
once.
yeah, he's not in it. Yeah.
And then at the end, he's in 100 just because they were like, haha, fuck you. We'll put him in all the suits now. But half of Captain America, the second Captain America is him in a baseball hat and glasses, going around with Widow. It's like, there's a couple fun fight scenes, but it's always that way. They pace it out. You don't see Spider-Man as always Spider-Man. And so, but when it's a TV show, it's a weird sort of mix of how are we really going to do this? I guess we're going to have a whole episode length, which would be maybe Act 2 or whatever in the movie where Captain America isn't in the suit. So
yeah. I mean, and while we're here, Connorshu as well, Mr. Knight and Stephen Grant. How are you finding these changes?
Yeah,
I love Stephen Grant. I love my in it bruv man, my little British boy. Always cracks me up. Just
bruv,
just absolutely bonkers. Love him. Not sure how I feel about Mr. Knight. I think it's almost sad, but in the context of the show, it doesn't really bother me. You could almost sort of mourn what you could have, but what it is fine. And we're gonna get into it. There's a lot of Jake Lockley we haven't seen, and I feel is coming. And does he get the suit instead later? There's a lot of unknowns, but it certainly has not bothered me at all. And it's I hated how the suit looked in promos. Actually, that was a big thing. I hated the
Mr. Knight
the stitch on it. Yeah, the Mr.
Knight
the stitch. I'm like,
I
hate this. But actually, that works better with Steven. So it's almost like, they did think about this. This wasn't just a weird comic book change. This does work a lot. And the initial joke of it is still very funny.
Yeah.
No, we certainly will get into Jake a bit later on. But after that exchange, brilliantly portrayed between Layla and Arthur Harrow, we move to Stephen being amazed as well. I mean, we forgot to mention that amazing line.
It's so much my favorite joke, because I think, as Connor knows, it's absolutely the kind of dad joke I would make.
You know what my favorite? I think it's very English, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca. My favorite comedic moment from Steven, and it's very innocuous, is I think in episode 1 or something, he's talking to Layla and he goes, "Oh, someone knows their unilaterals. You."
Yes,
And he points at it.
It is. I mean, I do say things like that. So.
It's just really
but also,
funny.
if somebody said it's amazed to me, I probably would say it's amazing. It's such a great line.
Yeah. But we do get Steven going up towards the tomb, the voice of Amit, the Avatar, and he's trying to figure out who it is. And there were a couple of calls there, Nefertiti, right? And there's another one I didn't recognize that name, but I'm assuming it's a.
Now. But he's got to be a big one. Got to be one of the big ones.
One of the big
ones. Be one of the big
ones.
Which could be a Married with Children joke, but that's us Americans.
But then he finds it and he says Macedonian. He's going, hang on, and he figures out that he's going on in his head, but this guy was always referred to himself as Egyptian, and we've got Alexander the Great. Now,
apparently there is a hint, like as you go in, that it's not an Egyptian one because the horse statue isn't Egyptian style. I have been informed.
Very cool.
So
I love it.
I love knowing people who know these things. But like,
just put on my glasses for this.
Yeah. Oh, I've got more for you about the Macedonian language.
I'm glad I put my glasses on.
Please.
Yeah. So I have a friend who I think is a scholar of medieval literature, and
King Arthur.
I'm not going to say the other. Yeah. So when he's reading the inscription, let's see what he said. He said it wouldn't have been Macedonian, the language, but he thinks it's Old Church Slavonic. Macedonian wasn't a language until the High Middle Ages, so that's some information for you.
Busted.
And then somebody else goes, well, there was probably like somebody goes, what language would he speak? He was from Macedonia. Let's just say Macedonian then. But when you actually zoom in on the tomb and the actual script, my friend said it does actually say Basilius Alexandros.
So Mr. A.T. Great.
Yes.
Mr. Great.
You're not Attila the Hun. You're Mr. A.T. Great. We've caught you.
Yes. Just a couple of comments here from Moonlit Comics, just about Mr. Knight. Yeah, I mean, this seems to be a little bit bumpy for some people. Fair enough. Seems a little slightly forced and pointless. But again, I like Connorshu's take on maybe Jake takes over Mr. Knight persona. Who knows? Because the big question going around is, will Jake have a costume? And there's a lot of speculation there. People saying that
Bib and cracks.
Well, no, they're saying he probably might have the bed sheet one. You know, going out. But there's so many to choose from.
I literally just read a theory speculating he'll get the cowboy costume for no reason.
We all know the suit we really want, the boxer shorts.
We want boxer shorts and sheets. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
A creepy one from the was it Bung?
Oh, the mime mask.
Yeah.
The black and the mime mask. Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
I want it.
Or you get the all black one, which is
I think the all black one's a good chance, but I also think he could get this. I mean, like, I think we talked about it because when we'd seen the episode, that because Connorshu is imprisoned, that he might get some kind of more street level one, or the handmade one, or something like that. We don't know what's going to happen going forward. Like, maybe he'll get Mr. Knight without the stitching. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I just say
there's that promo of him without the eyes, like you guys.
Without the eyes, yeah. Or it could be just the street level Moon Knight costume. And so Moon Knight and Jake are kind of really, compared to the comics, are the one, and then you have Mark and Steven as the other, the alters,
the more mystical ones, yeah.
Yeah. So where were we? Getting the Ushabti.
Getting the
Ushabti. So
manhandle the mummy as something.
That was
he had to shove his hand pretty far down that mummy's throat, man, for a long time.
But this is when Mark suddenly becomes encouraging to him. He's like, get in there, get
in there, Steven. Really did.
He's suddenly a bit more. That's the shift in relationship, isn't it?
Yes,
it's like when he's
so.
started to be encouraging and saying, "Yeah, go on, do it."
Because previously they're still talking about the Layla kind of instance. So
I like how he just brought it up to him. So you kissed my wife, huh?
Yeah,
that's why I take it. It's having to shove his hand down his payback.
What are you going to do with? Are you going to drown us now? Because he's treading those little.
He's like, I should.
So they're just kind of bickering. But Mark is encouraging. It is a Nikki moment. I just kept on thinking, oh, geez, I know it's fake, but I'm just thinking he's actually putting his arm down the gullet of Alexander the Great.
Mr. Great.
Huge
Mr. Great to you, Roy.
Mr. A.T. Great to you. Could they make Alexander the Great Kang?
Oh.
Kang's put a dummy
what makes
body
you think
in
he
there
wasn't?
Or something like that.
No.
Well, that's what I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Theoretically,
we've had the Kang Easter egg in this already.
Yeah,
with one of those toughs wearing like the Kang thing
colors
on
and symbol.
On his jean jacket. It could be kind of fun if that was just. I don't think they're going to attach any much more MCU stuff to this, but it's something that they could play on later on. So if this show doesn't touch on it, which they won't, but maybe like later on they could be, I was Alexander the Great, I was this and that, I would have been everybody.
Well, I thought like as well, Rebecca and you and I touched upon it, and I don't know if you've done any more research. I certainly haven't. So I'm going to lean on Connorshu here. The significance of Alexander the Great, Connorshu. What is that?
I don't know what that. I was interested if there was going to be sort of like a sort of interesting note on like colonialism and the idea of having this story about Egyptian characters from like a white perspective, how that meshes in with having Alexander the Great be part of this. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't know
history.
Me neither.
I wonder if it was to be so they're not disrespecting an actual.
Yeah,
true. I don't know, but I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I wondered if that's why they did it, but maybe it was to just give Stephen someone to be excited about and to play with some different things.
No, I can get that because I feel like there has been a lot of stuff about the fetishization of grave robbing and even like grave robbing sort of being a thing recently that they have to be careful of. So
I read. So this friend of mine sent me the absolutely grossest thing about mummies.
Yes.
I love gross mummy facts.
No, this is so gross. We can put in the show notes if anybody actually wants to read it. In the 19th century, some rich Europeans had unwrapping parties. They unwrapped mummies and then they ate them.
Oh yeah, that was a TV show I watched recently.
What are you watching?
Is it cake, but is it mummy?
Nailed it.
Well, they did that on Futurama. They did that on Futurama once. And the professor eating some mummy.
So hey.
But there was some weird TV show that we were watching, and about some.
It's so grotesquely colonial.
Yeah.
To do that, to have the unwrapping party, but then to eat them is just.
Why go that extra step?
I mean, I was grimacing just watching him put his hand down someone's throat.
Yeah, break his jaw as well. Crack it open. I just got something here from CMK7. And he's mentioned something about the theme parks. Have you guys caught those photos?
They're so cute.
Yeah, they're cool.
What are these? No, I haven't.
It's just they're dressing up somebody as Moon Knight at the Disney parks,
and as Mr. Knight,
cool.
and he's got a British accent. Yeah.
They're great costumes as well. I mean,
putting them in rooftops. The first night they had Moon Knight come out, I saw some video of it. It was really cool. It was like one of the rooftops or something, and he was like skulking on the. I was like, oh, that looks really cool.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that video footage as well. But yeah, no, very excited. I mean, is Disney close? Oh, that's on the West Coast, is it? Knol?
There's two of them.
There's two.
Stella's going to be at one in a couple days. The one where they don't like gay people, so that will be exciting.
I mean, not fair, but
not the Disney, the state that doesn't like gay people.
Oh, okay. Where are they?
They're actually having a big fight.
Florida. Yeah,
Florida, and the other one's in California and Anaheim. Florida's having a big fight with Disney right now. So
is it?
Oh, apparently, so CMK7 that says they're at the West Coast one.
Yeah,
they're at the West Coast.
Okay.
The Hollywood, Anaheim.
Is that the original one? Is that the?
Yeah. Stella was like, "Am I going to see Moon Knight?" And I was like, "No, you're not." he's at the other one. She's like, I want to see him kill a werewolf. It's like, you're a twisted little 6-year-old.
That would be adorable, though. Can you imagine, like a Mr. Knight, and Stella's like, "I love you, Mr. Knight,"
and just punches him in the nuts, and then just walks away.
Now go kick a werewolf's ass. What are you doing sitting around here? Mickey looks like another one. Get him.
Exactly. Moonlit Comics also saying, me too, like to see Jake in the next episode. We're edging towards that bit in this episode. To have three of them interact in the hospital would be fantastic. For sure. Even on the streets or whatever, that'd be somehow, like, that would be
in
good.
A boat. It's gonna happen
in the
sheet. In a boat, any scenario.
I meant dressed in the Moon Knight sheet, everyone.
That hug was so great. Maybe we can get one more in there.
I have no fanfic about the altars because no, and apparently it exists, but no.
Oh wow,
boy,
okay. For me.
So we're heading towards the tomb raiding, kind of the tomb busting part of the show, Harrow catches up with. Before that, Stephen sees Layla, who's obviously a little bit affected by her conversation with Harrow.
Wait, what does he finally pull out? I'm blanking. What does he finally pull out?
It's a Shabdi. It's like a little stone statue.
That's right. It's so cute. It's almost cuter than Khonshu's, really. I want one.
Yeah. I want both of them.
I want a whole
Steven's
line.
I want the whole set.
But Steven's like, yeah, we won. And what does he say, Rebecca? Oh, good. Oh no, what's he calls her love? What's another?
Oh, you're right, love.
Yeah, you're right, love, because she looks obviously perturbed by something. So they have a confrontation. Steven piss bolts, and lets Mark handle it.
It's very similar to take the suit, Mark. Take the suit.
Exactly.
Shit, we're about to have it out with your wife, man. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Exactly. He kind of does the eye whites and
many situations in my past. I wish I could have done the same.
Yeah, he just changed alters. You're not speaking to Knol now. You're speaking to Jared.
You're speaking to Jevin, who hates you. I did tell someone my name was Jevin once when they're like, "Are you Knol Tate?" And I went, "No, I'm a Jevin."
Jevin, I love it. A mixture of Jake and
Kevin and Jason or something. I don't know where Jevin came from. And my friend later was like, "Where the fuck did you come up with Jevin?" I was like,
Jevin, probably the only Jevin in the world.
I met one later though. That's a weird thing. At the same bar. And he was bartending a couple of years later.
Oh no!
Probably not his real.
No, it was on his ID. And I was like, "I manifested you. You're my." I was like, he was my alter.
Is that how you opened it when you ordered a drink? I manifested.
Yeah, my friend was like, "Come here. This kid's name is actually Jevin. That weird name that you made up just so you wouldn't have to talk to somebody." I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Your name's not Jevin." He's like, "Here's my ID." And I was like, "Fuck, this is weird." I hate you.
Exactly.
Steven takes off.
Yeah, you'll never get the story back. Layla's pissed. Mark, you're up. Off you go.
That was so funny.
But I mean, they don't have long to really. Well, Steven hasn't too long anyway to.
No, but it's a great. I mean, it's Bushman confirmed pretty much.
Yeah,
that was
crazy.
Got
greedy and executed them all.
That's right. Yes,
it's him saying, "Of course I didn't do it," but obviously the realization that is why they met.
Yeah.
So, I'd love those lines. Yeah, and
such a great
the way that
Layla says.
Yeah. But Layla says, but she says almost like, don't you understand that that's the reason why we met? This huge tragedy. So love that.
You felt guilty.
Yeah. And Mark looked earnest as well. Like he said, I didn't. Like, do you when she asked, did you kill him? No. Like, obviously he's telling the truth in that.
Here's my question though: how did Arthur know like what scarf she was wearing? She was like Steven, or he said,
was
like
he there?
Mark saw everything. He basically says like Mark saw everything, even this, the red scarf that you had made.
Oh, he said he got it from reading him from the staff, didn't he?
Yeah, because I thought someone's judgment, you see their life.
Mystical juju. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, scarf, bro. I saw it when the gods.
Otherwise, if they were at the tomb of Khonshu, and
Khonshu
potentially Harrow was Khonshu's avatar at the time.
Yeah, but then he just went, "Oh, I'm taking this guy now." You're out.
Yeah, well, maybe if Mark died and I've decided to res this guy because you're a bit weird. I don't know. We still have to find out when that changeover happened.
Yeah, plenty to to discover.
You're a bit weird. That's too funny.
Well, especially funny to then go to Mark, but
yeah. So then this is it. We're heading towards the asylum soon. Harrow.
Random bullshit go.
Oh no. Rebecca, you mentioned there's a bit of Shakespeare in there as well. The end is silence.
Yeah. So the first thing that Ethan the rest is silent. So that's like Hamlet's last dying words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
it's pretty cool. And
I
Ethan
just like seeing Ethan. He's a huge Shakespeare fan. So
I reckon he probably added that in himself.
I'm almost certain that he added that in.
Yeah. But he gives. It's true as well. It's the same as with some other philosophies as well. About with freedom comes choice. So you are now no longer bound. by Khonshu, but you've got to make a decision. Give
Yeah.
me the Shabdi, or I'm going to shoot you. Basically, that's his choice.
Yeah.
You've got two choices. One,
Not a big
give me
choice.
the thing. Two, I'm going to throw you in a box with that skeleton man.
Would like to have a word with Harrow about his definition of free choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You sound like the people in Florida. I don't know.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of action coming from Mark, because we know it's Mark. He's always up for it. So a guy tentatively tries to go and grab the Shabdi from him.
Now, did they bury a lot of mummies with axes laying around?
Maybe Alexander got a special,
AT Great, the axe guy.
Yeah, it's really nice axe. Really ornate.
It's cool.
Oh, well kept, hasn't rusted or whatever.
Yeah.
Mummification is a thing.
No,
It's
it's an art. Yeah. Moonlight Comics, I'm just there are a couple of comments here. I was also left wondering why Harrow had been there so much earlier but failed to locate the tomb statue. Wow, just Harrow's
He didn't know how to draw the Eye of Horus. That's why.
not as bright as Stephen. So I was assuming. But anyway, so Mark, Stephen, Layla, again, a close up with her again. I can't not notice that as well. She's in shock. She has to cover her scream when Mark gets shot himself twice by Harrow and into the pool. And again, I thought there was going to be more CGI-ness in the pool.
Yeah. We were guessing that there'd be mummies pulling him down, or
or just some
all
weird
these cool
kind of
things.
vortex thing.
Yeah. No, it was they just left it as this beautiful shot.
Yeah,
and it was such a cool transition with the flashlight of the next scene.
So apparently they set up the shot, or the guy who was working on the shot did it by throwing a Moon Knight action figure in water.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Again,
amazing.
I just read that yesterday, and I was like, "That's such a beautiful way to do it. Like, not just any action figure. I took the Moon Knight one, and like,
it has to be the Moon Knight one. You wouldn't want some random one like Adam Warlock. It's like, what's he doing?
One of the GI Joes.
And Howard would just float. So
Howard, yeah. But that transitions into, and what I think the brilliance of this transition is that, because I've read a lot of posts of people saying that they kind of knew what was coming, like because of the white light, but they subvert that by actually going to this weird 80s clip opened with Rossa stumbling through a very blatantly fake jungle set with Dr. Stephen Grant. Yeah.
So apparently that Rossa, according to Marvel's doing these breakdowns of the episodes, which I've not seen them do for any other shows, where they sort of tell you exactly what happened. So according to their breakdown, Ross's name is Russell. So there's a
cute
heads up for Russell there. Russell and Dr. Stephen Grant. And I said Jack Russell, but no. That would be good.
I love the Dr. Stephen Grant as well. He's so over the top. He's got the, what do you call that hairstyle? The old flick back.
Just bad. It's just a bad.
Got the old flip back.
In the Netherlands, it was quite popular. It's like known as like a frat haircut. It's very popular.
I think it was like when guys were like happier to like started getting to grow their hair long in the 80s.
Got longer hair,
yeah, not in the sort of 60s and 70s, but it was a bit more sort of a bit more styled than the sort of just growing your hair long.
Sort of Wall Street cocaine haircut, sort of.
Yeah, and of course he had the British accent, so I presume that Stephen is there for an interject for Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's also the call out to the Aztec lunar god, and don't ask me to pronounce it. Like it looked.
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
not
name and
pronouncing
subtitles
that one.
was
Yeah.
very
Every
hard.
breakdown I've been listening to it and stuff, people are like, I forgot to write it down.
But that whole sequence has led to me finding someone who knows all about it,
of course,
and is going to come and do an episode with us about it. About the Aztec and Inca.
Be very interesting. Well, let's dive into that. You know,
my wife was just asking me about. They're like, did the Incas actually sacrifice people the most? I was like, yeah, I think so. Actually,
I love that.
The human sacrifice thing it's played up in fiction much bigger than it actually was. But I think if there was a place where it happened a little more, they
happy to do it. Happy to accommodate.
Yeah. As far as
so a nice little connection there with the Aztec gods and Luna maybe is this where Mark has come up with this idea of having a lunar god, or
And the
be it
skeleton
Egyptian?
falling down, isn't that straight out of one of the Indiana Jones movies?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
I thought it was like
It's probably all
yeah,
of
it
them.
was
Yeah.
blatantly dodgy, like being
Yeah.
a full on what do you call them? Just those skeletons you get for
Halloween.
medicine.
Like a
Yeah, and
plastic.
Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Halloween.
So everything about it's dodgy. But yeah, then we pan out, and oh my gosh, when we watch this at the screen and I'm sure everyone, Connor, did you see this coming as well, or?
Oh, not at all. Like when he
shit,
fell
no.
into the water, I'm like, oh, that's pretty sick. I'm sure.
Lingering over the
yeah. And then they cut to the once the fake movie started, I was like,
Yep.
I knew what was happening then, and I
really?
fuck with the resolution change so much. I'm like,
yeah.
Yes. And yeah, once they like changed the resolution, I was like, whatever's happening is about to play out in his head.
Nice.
But I think the thing tipped me off the most was him, going to Stephen Grant as well. I was like, oh, like the movies, like the Lemire run. Oh my god, here we are. And then we were in the asylum, and I'm like, oh my god.
When we were watching it, we were all generally confused.
We were like, what's happening? What's happening? What's going to
What the
happen next?
hell?
And
We were.
The screen just changed? Is this bad? Is this unfinished?
That's right. Yeah, because the ratio changes as well.
Yeah,
Did you
say?
Yeah, ratio changed. Oh,
and I thought,
love it.
And I was like, okay, we're doing a big change. I thought maybe we were going to go back to his past, like it was going to pan out, and it's going to be like young Mark.
Well, we're going to get the origin now.
Because we know his parents are going to be in it at some point. But then, when they went to like the white room, we were all like, Lemire, what are they doing this?
It's just so crazy. It was great. And judging by a lot of reactions online and in our group as well, it had the desired effect. We had the luxury watching the screen of not having little things leaked and potentially spoiled.
Or being in one of the teasers, because I think in the teasers,
So I was a little disappointed to see that, but it still had the same effect for me, and it seemed like a lot of others as well.
A lot of people not be that impressed by it, actually.
Wow.
But I know there are a lot of people that aren't impressed by just a lot of things. So
I was watching.
It's hard to impress those sort of people.
I was telling Ray earlier, I was watching these guys. I won't call them out, but a couple are closer to like in their 40s, and they've been Moon Knight fans for a long time, and they were just like, well, one of the guys, to be fair, I think he only likes like the 80s and 90s stuff. He was just like, I don't like the new Moon Knight stuff. So when they did this Lemire thing, I was like, yeah, now they're going to the territory I don't like. And I was like, all right, fair enough. But like to me, it's like if you're gonna be a Moon Knight fan, give or take some things, you kind of have to embrace at least all of it. And that's such an important. The Lemire run is really important for a lot of people. It is
important, no matter how recent. It is important. Yeah,
fucking crazy left turn to take in the middle of a TV show. It's the way they're gonna do it or the way they did it. I mean, is just like, okay, it makes perfect sense within the story so far to go there. It's pretty cool, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised at the lack of. We were talking about that yesterday, Ray. Just like the lack of. There's people who are like freaking out about it, but it's not blown up the same way that like. It was Agatha all along or whatever, and WandaVision sort of blew people's minds and stuff.
But I can like. I was just like screaming. I was like, "What are they actually going through with this?" Is like, oh my god, this is incredible, and it's like, I like the series so far. Like I've been really enjoying it, but in like a sort of like this is a lot of fun kind of way, and I'm like, all right, this is why I watch television. Fuck with it all. Like here we go.
Yeah. And it's not just like a nod, right, to Lemire. Like it pays really good respect to it. There's so much accuracy to it, and I'm not saying it's actually panel for panel, but it's more than just like a simple nod to the run. Where
you could go as far as almost call it like an adaptation, almost.
Yeah, it's somewhere between a nod and an adaptation, because I have a feeling we're going to be moving through. We already do move through there's like entire issues dedicated to what they just did in a few minutes. You know what I mean?
But also, according to that Marvel breakdown, it is the Putnam Psychiatric Ward, so that's straight from Lemire.
Yeah, right. Which is cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
And sorry, what was he? Joel, he was just talking about. I mean, so we can quickly go through it as well. I guess all the the references tying into what we've learned so far in episodes 1 to 3, what seemed like reality. So stuff from Gus the fish to the Rubik's Cube.
And that's what made it feel like
Crawley,
Lemire too, is because they tie so much Moon Knight history in the comic in this first issue, you know, about Crawley's there, all his people are there. So not only did they give him all his people, but they gave him all the sort of the props and everything that we've gotten so far, and that's great.
It was fantastic. The leg tied to the wheelchair, being Stephen tied to the bed. So there's just so many parallels, which it's really good payoff. And of course, we called it, and a lot of other loonies did, Billy and Bobby being the eventual wardens.
The orderlies.
The orderlies,
And Beck being the other one.
So,
we didn't call that out. So
no. But a comment here from Joel was talking about. He's talking about, I was freaking out when Harrow was talking about the pen. Now I can't remember. Is that a direct lift from the Lemire run about the analogy of the pen and it being a writing instrument, but for a dog it's a chew toy? It's just both are correct.
I can't remember. I mean, I
can't remember either.
I think that's from actually something else. Even, I mean, it's obviously like the metaphor is pretty universal. Like, what is reality? I think I heard Alan Watts talk about that. Before,
but I wonder. I mean, Joel, if you're still there, I wonder if that literal analogy is that why you were freaking out? You know, is that because it was lifted straight from the Lemire run? But we certainly have the Harrow. Let's call him Dr. Harrow and Stephen Mark in
Dr.
there.
Emmett.
Which yes, we have Dr. Emmett in the comics. So I wonder if.
Did they say Dr. Harrow though? Have they said that?
No,
they don't.
Unnamed.
No.
So it could easily be Dr. Emmett.
And somebody posted in the Discord that Harrow's room is, you know, the room in episode 2 or 3, where the one that Mark the one that Stephen calls a mad magician's man cave.
Oh yes.
So it's got exactly the same layout as Harrow's room with the stones and stuff. So if you
did you guys see
that room white,
I didn't notice that. That's super cool. No.
Yeah, I didn't know until somebody posted it in the Discord. Oh, so Joel's clarified. So the red pen in the Lemire run is what Mark uses to make the crescent moon symbol on the bedsheet mask.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Nice.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
And he takes it off Dr. Emmett's desk.
Okay.
Nice.
I thought he was definitely going to stab somebody in the eye with that.
So again, brilliant acting from Oscar here when he talks to Arthur Harrow. Rebecca, you and I, we went through in the reaction episode, and we couldn't contain ourselves. Those 3, there were references on the table as well.
Yeah, the funerary gods and there was a Sobek statue as well.
Sobek, yeah. Or Ahmet as well. The crocodile could be.
Yeah, I think the headdress is what made it
different.
Sobek, according to what you've guessed it, my friend.
Fifth mic.
I would love to get her on, but I don't think she would. But she said they and I was like, I don't know my hats, sorry. So, but yeah, apparently. So.
Also like to make comment. Apparently, that fly was an improvised scene as well, where Mark has this fly on his hand, which is totally accidental because I think a fly was flying around on set, but he kind of used it to, looking at it. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Because I was watching it when I watched it the last time, thinking, okay, what's the significance of this fly?
Yeah, me too. It's like, is it a death thing? Is it?
But it's totally nothing.
It's just a fly that wanted to be a star.
So at this stage, then I'm going to ask Connorshu. So what? WTF? What the hell is happening at the moment? What is going in your head? Because one can be a reality, the other can't, right? So what do you? How are you justifying this?
Well,
pen. Big brain Noel, what's he got?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, point out the pen. One, they could both be realities.
They both, they could be. True.
Schrodinger's Moon Knight.
The kind of shoes. What the?
What was I going to say? The one story in fiction that I would be okay with. It's all a dream. If we just end up in the asylum for good, just run it off there. But I definitely. It'd be interesting to know because it seems like this isn't something Harrow would have control of. He just pulled the trigger. He's not an avatar currently. Like, he's moving to. Well, is he? He's not. The god isn't free yet. Basically, like I'm not sure if he'd have.
He's
that,
he's a wannabe avatar. He wants to be Amit's, but he's not really yet.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he doesn't even have that power yet. He just has the stuff. This doesn't seem. So is it just in his head, or is this like, because this seems so much more like, if it doesn't seem like it's just in his head. This seems like a reality of some kind. So yeah.
It's strange. I'm going to point towards Rebecca, because I know you're probably chomping to bits here. You gave me a great theory as well from lo and behold.
This came out of discussion and going back to the Lemire run, and we started talking about the as Oscar runs, and I think Moonlit Comics has just said that the whole Oscar performance in this whole sequence is amazing, which it is. And so as he goes out into the corridor and the lights start swinging, and also when he's leaving Harrow's room, the floor looks like it's on an angle. So the theory here is that we are on the barge.
No, 100% we're going there.
Yeah, but we're on it. That
we're on it now.
Like the psychiatric ward is the barge going through the overvoid, and that's why there are other gods there.
There was creaking as well. You said, Rebecca.
There's creaking if you listen to it. Yeah, exactly. So as Moonlit Comet's going towards the field of reeds.
Field of reeds,
and that's happening. I mean, there's been shots of like the boat. I forget which god brings you through the reeds.
Anubis is?
I thought it was Anubis, was it?
Okay, maybe. Yeah, it must be Anubis brings you through.
But my friend also pointed out that Ra's sun barge does have a night and a day more, but we're more on the death barge sort of thing, because Mark's just been shot, and this is all a little bit surreal, and I don't think they have time to fully flesh out if the rest of the show was totally in his head. I'm not sure 2 episodes would be enough to resolve that, whereas they can resolve this. But no, I mean, like, I just thought originally that the tilting was Mark being drugged up, so everything felt out of kilter.
I originally thought that is. Yeah.
But with the creaking and that floor bit looking out of angle, I'm on the death barge.
I love that idea,
and it makes sense though, doesn't it? As well.
Yeah.
So we're in
just sort of like a kind of not a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of thing, but sort of like The Shining or something, where the perspectives get all weird.
Well, that's what I thought originally.
But I was like, oh, that's just some cool filmmaking.
I think the creaking is what sort of got me more onto the and Mark literally lilting from side to side, so he's not just falling over going forwards, but he moves a bit to side as well. And so that's my current theory until it's proven wrong. We're allowed to theorize now, Knol. Now we've seen everything.
Yeah. I love it. Anyway,
I'm on board with that. Yeah.
It's all over after this episode anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They tricked us. This was the last episode. They just left it.
This was that's it.
Like, oh God.
The biggest surprise is that's it. Okay.
I think now that's like the best. I mean, they're obviously getting sort of a condensed version of the Lemire run with this, without the movie studio and without Jake Lockley and all that stuff. I mean, in further in the story, but I mean, we're obviously going to get Jake Lockley in that that other sarcophagus was him, right? Yep. And it's just like, I think where we are is somewhere like the other void inside, as how Mark perceives it. Yeah, so I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good. Like, the other gods don't know Arthur Harlow. Harrow. They don't know him, but Mark does. So this is the way he's perceiving this fucked up afterlife or whatever.
This is how he's making sense of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then sort of the third reality or surreal reality is the fact that we are on the boat.
Yeah.
So he's gonna snap out of his own sort of mind to be in another weird ass place. And it's just like, here's the big how do we get Connorshu back?
So that's
I think Tarouet will have some inkling. I mean, she looks like she's there to help him.
This is where it switches to like the other void, because this is where all the other gods. She's one of the many gods that's imprisoned.
Yeah.
I wonder if all the other gods, along with Khonshu, will be freed, and that will open up more, for the Marvel universe.
More fodder for Gore the God Butcher.
Yes,
I was going to
exactly,
say
exactly.
that. I was like, I
Absolutely.
don't want to see them all get
Absolutely.
slaughtered, but
you just get, one of the Nut. I think Nut is one of the gods, and she comes out and only to be killed by Gore. but I mean, it wouldn't make sense that only Khonshu would be freed, right? I mean, if there's a third party like Tarawet helping Mark,
like, you're gonna free this asshole, but you're not gonna free me.
Yeah, exactly. What are you?
I'm sweet. I'm just a big hippo lady.
Yeah. I think we'll have to be freeing quite a few of them. Maybe that's what all the CGI budget's being kept for.
War of the Gods. Let's go.
War of the Gods. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, remember that's what was teased in the overarching thing about him getting involved in a war of the gods.
True. Shit.
And we haven't had
funny
that
with a bunch
really.
of slap fights with a bunch of characters that look like the hip. Just hitting each other rolling around. It's a war of the gods.
Yeah. Or the avatars of the gods, and they're not as adept to fighting as Mark Spector, so that you got like a banker versus a I don't know, like a preschool teacher.
A bit like a banker.
And it's just like all of
I mean, it's been pretty obviously set up as the War of the Gods. I think we just kind of forget because it's been such this Indiana Jones kind of adventure. That it's like clear, like you guys were talking about. I forget who was kind of in concert with Arthur. Which one of the avatars?
Oh, Osiris.
Osiris, yeah. Being kind of like mustache twirly himself. Like I'm kind of like a villain from the TV show 24. Like we're all trying to imprison all the gods so we can be rulers of the Overvoid or whatever. Come back to Earth. So, like there's like a couple of us who are gonna come back and take care of everything. And I don't know, there's a lot that's left unsaid for like Khonshu isn't really saying shit other than like we can't let comment out,
It's well, I mean, I guess we'll have to see. It's interesting. I only got 2 more to go. Connorshu, what were your thoughts when you saw Tarawet, the hippo god? Yes.
Oh, great. I was like, that's awesome.
It's so weird, though. Yeah.
It did remind me of Dr. Emmett in the Lemire run.
Okay.
When you finally see her version. So I was like, you guys actually, that was where mine went. And I was just like, oh, that's cool. But when you guys talk about the Overvoid and that the other gods are there, that's like a way cooler theory than whatever I came up with. So that has me even more excited now. I'm like, bring everyone in.
I mean, they've talked about it. So it's not gonna, it's already, this show goes from like a pretty weird show all of a sudden it's gonna get really, really weird for a minute.
Very
next
strange.
Episode, like at least half of next episode is going to be some very Lemire Overvoid kind of stuff. But we're getting back to Moon Knight. There's still a lot of shots of Moon Knight action that we still haven't seen yet that have been in trailers. So
do you think because we only got 2 more episodes to go, do you think the series will be, I guess, left up in the air, and directly, and then directly linking to whatever he's got planned or Feige's got planned for Moon Knight in the movies? Like, will we see Moon Knight in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? Like,
no.
Okay.
No, but yeah, it is a good question where they're going to leave it. I mean, he hasn't signed another contract yet, so it doesn't mean that he wouldn't be like, oh yeah, write it on a cliffhanger. I'll sign up. I just more money, whatever.
Yeah.
It sounds like Moab Diab has been very like, oh no, you're going to see. He's been very upfront and just said, no, this shit's awesome, and you're going to see more Moon Knight in some way.
Well, that'd be great. Yeah, because I wonder if he is in the films. You'd think that they would have already planned how it links in with the TV show, so that will inform how the ending would be.
It'll probably be. I just think maybe a future film than Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange sounds like it's already got a lot.
Yeah.
And so does Black Panther, really. So I think we're talking the films that come after that.
Yeah, the Midnight Suns original film. I mean, that's
Blade.
A couple weeks ago, that's what everybody was saying. Yeah,
we've still got Werewolf by Night, which is filming now.
True.
Did you hear about that as well?
Yeah.
There's
Elsa Bloodstone.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Cool. Oh man,
what a great character!
And they're using real effects for the werewolves.
Oh nice.
Oh,
like when they're getting into real werewolves.
Yeah.
Is he gonna slam dunk?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
They found that they found like one of the best actors among the werewolf community. In Marvel's new push for representation.
Yeah, exactly.
They found him on Instagram. It's pretty amazing.
And they allow him to do anything, like the freedom, creative choices. It's great.
Yeah. So I was thinking this one I was gonna like bite their leg. What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's roll with it. The actor's going, hang on, wait 1 sec. Yeah, so Elena, I think they'll probably
that's
leave it
what
as
I want.
ending, new beginning.
That's what I want.
I think so too. I think we'll either get the non-supernatural suit.
Please.
And see him go and beat up someone street level, or
8-ball.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
It'd be a weird place to leave it right now, but I don't know.
They're going to keep it
so
more supernatural for a while, especially if there's going to be kind of a blade thing.
I mean, there is a point that he made that having the supernatural suit takes away from that. How do they get the suit on to go fight? So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a full-on cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a sort of moment. Like
one of my favorite scenes in their first Spider-Man movie was him in the alley putting the suit on. That was great.
Yeah, that was absolutely
I would love to see.
I know it's just
Jake Lockley pull the Moon Knight suit out of the boot of the
What
cab
about
the boot of the taxi?
Cab picking up Blade or something like that?
Oh, they have a field. They can have a field day with Jake Lockley in the cab. That'd be so cool.
Uber.
Or
pick up
I guess.
Finn Jones as well. Get the Iron Iron Fist for that comic. But Connorshu, where do you? I mean, we kind of spoke about it broadly, but where do you see this heading? Are we staying with Supernatural Moon Knight, or do you think there will be a shift after this Asylum thing? Will we get more street level?
I'm feeling Supernatural still. I really feel like there's a concerted effort by Marvel to really carve out a particular by itself corner of the Marvel universe. It's Supernatural, Blade, Black Knight at the end of Eternals, Werewolf by Night, and they've set those up. But even like, I know that was at the end of Eternals, but that still feels very separate from everything else of the union. It really feels like there'll be that own universe, and that's where I feel like not universe, pocket of this cinematic universe where Moon Knight will stay. So
I mean, I'd be happy either way.
They're really trying to make sure that people don't see Batman in this.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they really are. I mean, it's an obvious. They made Stephen Grant not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
very intentional there, and it works a lot better. Like I in a way, like sometimes I get annoyed with the character of Stephen, but you're supposed to. It's like, and so I think we're just not going to get a lot of that street level stuff with this version of Moon Knight in the MCU.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe, I mean, there's some scenes where he's going to be fighting on the street. There's still the one where he's flipping over the car.
Yep.
Handing out some darts to people.
Handing out darts. You have one.
They're gold. They come from a god.
Yeah.
Unlimited as well. Yeah.
I can just keep going. You want one?
Yeah, you want more?
I got them done.
You have one.
Yeah. So I hope we're not going to get that cool Mr. Knight in the self-driving car. We're not going to get,
we're not going to get issue 5 of Moon Knight.
Yeah. I mean, we might get some more street level-ish stuff, but it's still going to be
supernatural side.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I heard there were werewolves down past Gina's diner, but whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah. And yeah, that's right. Good point. CMK7 Chris says Jeremy Slater himself said, why compete with the character with an 80-year head start? Fair enough. I mean, look, I think he can still return to be street level, but they've established enough that he's very different from, Man-Bat. So
I mean, I just want to see more of they spend so much time designing the suit and everything. We've got like 8 minutes of it. It's like, I know there's going to be more. I hope episode 6 is just full suit, full tie. It's not going to be anything I want, and that's okay. But they spent so much time designing the suit, and it was controversial at first, and now people are like, okay, I'm cool with it, and then they don't give it to us, and it's just, he's really seemed like, I hope going future past the show, not just the next 2 episodes. We get some Moon Knight.
No, I'll be happy. I'm sure with each and every one of you be just as happy anyway. Either way it goes. So same. Although we must get this as Lannisters. What you mean? We're not going to get the automatic Crescent Dart machine gun from Mark Spector, Moon Knight.
Maybe that's Jake's weapon. Maybe Jake's the gun
boy. Jake, the new Rambo. That'd be good.
Fuck you, Chuck Dixon.
Before we kind of round out this, just wanted to drop in a few of the Looney feedbacks as well. I mean, thank you so much, Loonies, for giving your live thoughts as well. Big thanks to Moonlit Comics, Joel, Lena, and CMK7. People. So it's always fun interacting with you as we're chatting. But of course, there's been fantastic comments in our groups as well. I'm going to go for one of the less happy ones. Just give it a bit of a range. Marcin Kozioski says, if that plot twist would be earlier, then I would think it's Mark's delusion, etc. But obviously it's some kind of illusion, because otherwise the previous episodes would be a waste of time. And to be honest, I only loved the second episode and maybe the first. By the way, all I want to see in episodes 5 or 6 is a Daredevil-like fight from the Scarlet issue. So he's talking about issue 5. And I hope future projects with Moon Knight will be better. So thank you, Marcin. Not apologies, but sorry to hear that. It's probably not up your alley. Look, it was never going to please everyone. I mean, it's so disparate, everyone's opinions and their tastes and why they like Moon Knight. It's never going to be able to cover everything. So maybe, as I mentioned to one of the other loonies in this thread as well, maybe future versions of Moon Knight will be more to your liking. But I think we've discussed Noel, you're saying a Daredevil-like fight scene's probably not going to happen in the last 2 episodes.
We're going to get some fights for sure.
But not like
it's not going to be some.
It's not going to be ripped from.
No,
it's very much.
Hallway scene is happening here.
No. We're taking seems to be taking from the Lemire run. So it'll be just weird to then fit in that Ellis story there. For some reason.
Every time they've showed the little bit of Moon Knight action we've got is always great. It looks so.
Yeah.
I've said it a few times. So Sienkiewicz to me, just like the movement. It looks like when his panels come to life. Like when he was chasing the jackal before he impales it on the big shiny stick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great.
That the whole him running across the rooftops and stuff, and when he flips over and stuff, it just fuck, that looks like a Sienkiewicz drawing. It's so cool. I want more of it.
Yes, there were some very, very good shots.
I think it's going to be more. It's almost prettier than the Daredevil stuff was really brutal. The Daredevil Netflix show was very brutal and it was cool. Yeah. He would get out of breath and have to get up and fight. You're not getting that with this Moon Knight. He's a super powered god tier. He can get stabbed with sticks and get up, kind of guy. So for better or for worse.
Connorshu, just looking at Joel's comment here, do you have a favorite meme of Moon Knight? Yeah.
Favorite meme? Oh, I mean, outside of the million that Moon Knight Core posts.
yeah.
This one's particular, but it's in the first is it the second episode where Steven's looking at the camera and then it's and then you see on the camera it reveals to be Mark or maybe Jake in there, and he looks back at the security camera and Steven freaks out oh, that's me.
Yep.
And it just has Steven starting with watching the tape and seeing Mark, and it says, when you find out the person who shit your pants. That was pretty good.
I don't have a favorite. Noel or Rebecca, do you have a favorite meme or?
I like that the scene of Stephen and Mark has become a meme template now. Mark or whichever one explaining to the other, and the other look horrified, and also the screaming one at the end.
Yes, the screaming one.
And I think my favorite of those, it was with Apocalypse.
Yeah, by that one. So
it's so good. Apocalypse. No. I saw one. There was a still with all those stakes actually through them, but I can't remember what the joke was. It was funny. There's just something about like
it's becoming incredibly memeable. Like there's some
it is,
really, really, and a lot of it's just because Oscar's face is so expressive.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, very good.
Here's another bit of feedback that I want to read another negative one.
Yep.
I like it from Jim Loader. As a show about a couple zany archaeologists trying to save the world from a crazy villain, it's just okay. But as a supposed Moon Knight series, it is a complete and total failure. Complete and total failure. I've been reading Moon Knight comics since 1980 and so looking forward to this show, but it's just been a hot mess of disappointment. We've gotten, barely 10 minutes of Moon Knight and 4 episodes? Horrible.
Yeah, that's the one that I responded. Yeah, and you responded as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been reading since 84, pal. I don't know how fucking old you are, but no, I'm
the oldie, yeah, come on.
But no yeah, comment. I mean, that's no, God, shoot, 14 years old.
14 and a half.
But yeah, exactly. Art is subjective. And that's, like I can see there's bits that bug me. I want way more Moon Knight too. But I went in knowing that it's like they're trying to bring this character to the wider audience, not just the wider MCU fans, but a wider audience. No one's heard of Moon Knight before, and they've thrown in enough Easter eggs, I feel like, or at least like real nods to the comics to make some of us who've been reading Moon Knight since the 80s happy. Obviously not everybody. I'm still personally not stoked on the suit. Like I'm fine with it, but I wish it looked more like a comic book suit, even though I know that's hard to pull off. But yeah, it's not going to be for everybody. I'm sure there's people who are huge Thor fans when that first Thor movie happened. They were like, "Huh, this? Okay."
Oh, yeah, Thor has veered so much away from the beaten path, I think, as well. I mean, there was another comment. Someone said, "Oh, look, Iron Man, Daredevil, if they can do those like accurately from the comics, why can't they do Moon Knight accurately?" I'm thinking, well, there are differences still in the Daredevil.
They're not super.
Daredevil's not like the comic.
Iron Man's not that accurate.
Exactly.
I mean,
no.
It's become more accurate as the comics have sort of caught up to the popularity of the movie. But there's a lot we're missing sort of on Iron Man stuff. But it has more. I guess there's bigger differences. The bigger difference is the change to Stephen actually. Because. And obviously that's tied into the change to Mr. Knight, but they seem to be more it's not so much the lack of Moon Knight. I think that the big changes are like that's an actual change of Stephen's whole persona that we've seen. Like I think they've kept in. Obviously they did it to remove some of the Batman parallels, but not that we believe there are any, but but I think it's kept that theme of Steve being the one that you want to protect, like the lovable one, and like I mean, I don't know, when he's a big businessman, do we really love him? But he is the charmer and the one who can sweet talk people, and he's the not fightery as much. So they've I think they've honored some of that, but made that big change.
They've honored some of it by making Marlene, Layla. Like fall for him. Remember in the comics that's who she loves. It's Stephen Grant, really.
And also like I think Mr. Knight, the most recent time we saw him was slightly different than the first time we saw him. So I think all of these characters have the potential to grow in that. I'm not sure Steve's ever going to become the world's greatest fighter, but he can get some training in that. And
how cool would it be to see Mark and Steven like in the Mindscape and Mark is training Steven to fight. Come on, you fight like a baby. Let's go.
Yeah, come on.
Flash out to the real world.
Jake's like, no, use the guns. Use the guns.
No, stab him in the face with an axe.
But and Lena makes a good point here as well. Iron Man, arguably as well, made better from the movies, from the comics. I mean, he's had a long history in the comics as well. But
as the token Iron Man fan here, I do agree with Lena, but I also disagree that he's boring in the comics.
Oh, there's been some great Demon in a Bottle.
I mean, like
he's been an asshole for a long time.
Yeah, but he's also not, and I think having the movies has hung up the comics on always dealing with the same issues over and over again as the writers try and deal with the same issues over and over again. And I think in the comics, some of that was dealt with a long time ago, but now we've kind of gone back to it. So in a way, it's been a little bit regressive to keep talking about his addiction when he mostly has it under control, except in that lovely Hercules run, Ray.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I love it.
Ray knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
the moment I
absolutely.
screamed in a Hercules run. But yeah, no, I do agree that the MCU Tony, but he's also led to everyone just jokingly going, "Oh, Tony's an asshole." It's like it's not entirely the story in the comics, but you know,
yeah. Even sort of recently, I don't mean real recently, but 15, 20 years, he hasn't always been that. Even post MCU,
post MCU.
I just like the fact that it was like Iron Man was a bet that Stan Lee had.
and also, like, I mean, look, RDJ is incredible in the role, and obviously his personality and his life experiences added a lot to it. So it's not a complaint, but like, I just, you know, I get twitchy when we talk Iron Man, so it's probably like, it's relevant. I think Cap is the one where the films did it better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
More true.
I'd agree.
I would say he was a little bit more boring in the comics and a bit more stick in the mud.
Yeah,
and
the movies made me like
the movies found a way to make him relatable and old timey. So and charming and stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess before we round it out, Rebecca, any comments there from the Looney listeners you want to?
Yeah, I'm going the Instagram. So Alpreen said, I have mixed emotions about this one. I'm a huge fan of Lemire's run. I was freaking out over the last 10 minutes, but I'm still really holding out for some flashbacks in the desert and Jake. They alluded to both in the episode, but I can't believe we didn't get to see either. It's a great episode. The whole series has been great. I just wish it was longer than 6 episodes because there's so much to cover.
Oh, there is so much to cover. There is. And I think I responded to that as well. Again, it's very subjective, but I think there was enough alluding to the origin without having to see it, you know, frame for frame. But it would be great to see, of course. Who knows?
I don't think he's talking about the origin. I think he's talking about. Oh, or is he talking about the origin? Yeah,
maybe. I thought, about the.
No, maybe he is. I thought we were just talking about like when to go back to the scenes where we didn't see Jake and see those fights from his perspective. But I think you're right. You're talking about the desert and the origin.
Do you guys care to actually even see the origin played out on film?
No, I don't mind if we don't.
Given that I don't think that they can show certain aspects of it.
Yeah,
I think we're kind of good. Like maybe seeing the aftermath of it and all the bloody bodies and Mark being killed. So we can see the resurrection. I don't know if I need to see people being executed.
No, I think
they have had that a little bit on the MCU before, like in Iron Man movies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's impossible. I just don't know if I need to see it. I would like.
I heard somewhere they said they're not doing an origin thing really anymore.
Oh, that was ages ago. They've got that wrong.
They lied.
They've got that wrong. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They said that, and then they released
Shang-Chi was like almost all.
Exactly.
This was before Doctor Strange. They said that before Doctor Strange.
I think it was more that they're not going to do as many linear sort of origins and stuff like that. Maybe, but what do we still want to see? Connorshu.
Yeah, I actually, my predictions for next episode is that we are going to see bits of the origin, but I think to get out of wherever Mark is, the Overvoid or whatever, it's really going to have to be, he's going to have to face his own demons, and you know they will, Stephen, Mark, and I think someone like Jake Lockley will be the key to get out of there. So I think it'll be Mark embracing all of himself, and that's where we'll see as much of his origin as possible. And I think that would really work. Like, I think they've already avoided that by not just having, because the Netflix shows always did that, where you get like 5 episodes in and then the 6th one would just be a flashback, and
it got
really
a little tiresome.
So I think like in a strange way that tell don't show is really working. So I hope I am sort of all right in that theory, because I love an introspective bitch. But like
I think we're gonna get the origin of his DID though.
Yes, I think we're gonna get. Yeah, I think that's what Connorshu's kind of saying, is that like he'll have to deal with, if he's dealing with like what's going on in his mind, that involves getting to coming to terms with the DID. I mean, like, you know, obviously Mark.
And someone had said, like, obviously his parents are going to be in it unless they've cut that scene or something.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I'm hoping. I mean, I've said it all along, well, to you guys, that I think we're gonna we're going to get this jolt to the origin, like to his childhood, and then it will go back into the psychiatric ward, and then we'll find out what Tarouette's doing with him, and we'll. But what else do I need to see? I'd like to see his. I mean, want to see some explicit comment on his Judaism.
Yes,
they say that's coming too.
They do say that's coming, which is why we're all thinking origin here. I'd like to see. I want to see that first resurrection, which I believe teasers have kind of suggested will happen. I don't know what I want to happen with the gods, because I only want them shown with the animal forms and stuff if it's really good. So like, I don't want it to be a kind
2
of
for
like
2 so far.
yeah. I mean, like, you know,
burning
I
up the money
agree.
though.
And I think Tarouette's high just makes it. The sort of Valley Girl accent is perfect. And so like I want to know what's going to happen with the gods. I want to see Jake, obviously, full on, not just a hint. Jake and his outfit.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be the teaser for that.
I think it's plausible that that's the teaser at the end, but I would like to see him fully accented up, costumed up.
So what do you mean by the teaser at the end? That was the teaser,
like the very last thing of the show, maybe.
I think like
Jake's
the
there.
Knol saying,
okay,
Jake,
yeah.
Next
with the fake
season
mustache.
on midnight.
I would really like to see. I'd really like to see Frenchie.
Me too. I'm hanging out for Frenchie, and because we know that he's been cast, right? So we're assuming
we don't know for sure.
Yeah,
no, we don't.
Someone just said they want to see Mark and Layla's wedding.
That'd be cute. No.
God,
to be fair, they said a glimpse of the beginning of the relationship.
What's that? Even wedding.
Yeah, well, like a little 5-second clip. Why not?
Yeah, the wedding.
You know?
I have a feeling it was a sham wedding anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to see the wedding because I want to see Connorshu commentating during the wedding.
Mark, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
she's pretty good looking. Maybe I'll take her as mine.
No, when they
now, Mark, stop this sham of a wedding.
When they exchange the vows, you have Connorshu taking over Mark. You know, in that one volume. Do you, Mark, take this? I do. Take this.
Yes, I take it. Now be my What the fuck was that?
What did I say? What did I just say?
I don't know if you guys have ever read any Marvel weddings, though. I have a whole collection that has like all of them up until Spider-Man's.
But like, or giving the best man speech.
Yeah. I'll take the mic from here. Oh god.
Anyway,
CMK7. I don't know why they did make them married. Just
I think to add some of the dynamic. I think like to set it up, because number one, it sets off kilter, right? Because we're not ready for that. So that's a nice thing for fans. But I think the idea that I think it surprised
non-fans too.
Yeah, but I think it was to have Stephen totally alone at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because of the divorce, you know, like to set up that kind of divorce or separation thing. Like that's why she's not with him all
even
along.
Your altar gets a woman.
Yeah. So I think it's probably that, but I thought it was a nice surprise and an interesting dynamic that we've not had a couple on the rocks before in this way, like about to get divorced, and how the DID actually helps bring them back together, because like she's then because Stephen, she wants to protect Stephen, so I don't know. I think it's a kind of nice way of showing that the DID isn't necessarily always like an awful thing for people.
Yeah,
you know, like
good. It's very
I would, you know, I think whatever it was very intentional, because you don't just slip that in. So
no, good point. I think to end it, thank you so much everyone for coming along. Connorshu, if there's one, I don't know if you got access to some of the comments there, one that you want to give a shout out to.
I'm not sure if they'd want to be reading out, but I love
I
love the comment here from Rachel Vincent. I think on
you
the
could read that
Facebook
out.
page.
Yeah.
So I just I think just the whole thread. I think there's so many, like, just reading all those comments on there is just really
okay.
good.
So which one was that?
Oh,
Read
I
it
just meant.
out. Read it out.
Okay. So as the hey, this is Rachel Vincent. I just wanted to add this. I spent years in the internal world, only occasionally getting glimpses of the external world. Each time I did, it totally blew my mind and sent me into tailspin. So for me, the later part of this episode was a little too relatable. But like Lena said, I was also so glad to see Mark and Steven confirming each other's reality and hugging. I'm looking forward to seeing them kick the crap out of Harrow for what he did to them.
Yeah, that was
Rachel.
A great comment. Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah.
It's such a thanks. Glad I could read that out because I just like knowing that so much more because obviously nothing I've experienced in it. It's so great to know they're actually doing this right and putting it on screen. I think the Middle Geeks podcast as well is a really great insight from people are Mina talking about Moon Knight as well. I only mentioned that because I just saw they released their episode.
Oh, cool!
On
I'll
Moon
go
Knight,
listen to that. Yeah,
episode 3 and 4. So give that a shout out as well. I think that's like really good to know.
Yeah, and I just posted up a video in the group too about someone with DID who was not a Moon Knight or even a comic book fan who just heard that they were doing another. Oh, we're doing another thing with somebody with DID, and they were impressed by it. They really thought
that's
they were
great.
Thought they were handling it well as far as just that aspect. And she was very clear, like, I don't know shit about Moon Knight. I hardly know anything about comic books or superheroes. She said, I saw Split. That was okay. But the evil Ultra thing is kind of played out and dumb. I hope they don't do that. And she came back. She's like, oh, they're doing a pretty good job. So
we're really lucky to have systems within our group, and
but it was good to know to see people who aren't just Moon Knight fans.
Yeah.
You know, because it could be a little biased. Like, well,
for sure. You know, like we're already on side is the thing. It's like But like I said, the first time I read Moon Knight was because somebody said he's Jewish. So like, there's always those hooks that can get you in, and the rest is
the rest is history. Yeah, but no, very good. I like that idea and just them confirming each other. I mean, Noel, you touched upon it at the very outset of this episode about Mark and Stephen and Rebecca as well, about how they slowly come to enjoy each other's company, and just that hug at the end was really good too.
Fantastic.
It's the most like meme, like wholesome meme thing on the internet as well. Like it's so lovely.
I mean, there's even the comparisons with the Lemire run again. I think that was drawn, by anyway, it had Stephen and Mark embracing each other again. So
it's when he says goodbye, isn't it?
Yeah.
And somebody commented that the outfit that Mark's wearing in the psychiatric ward is the same colors as in that scene in the comic.
Oh wow! I'm gonna have to have a look. Yeah. Cool, nice.
It's really cool.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our take on the tomb. Thank you so much. Noel, you still with us?
I'm here. Yeah. I'm just thinking about that hug again. It's so wonderful.
Oh yeah, the hug. We've got so much to look forward to. 2 more episodes. Can't believe it. I mean, episode 5 by next Wednesday. Rebecca and Noel will be going into it absolutely, fresh.
That's going to be a fun reaction cast.
It's like watching a normal TV show now. Wow.
Yeah. I know. But I was really
insight from the future.
Yeah, true. But I was so glad that episode 4, watching it like last Wednesday, it had still all the same kind of vibes and excitement. So really cool.
I felt the same feelings I did the first time as I did the second time.
Yeah. Me too. Connorshu, a huge thank you for coming back. It's always
so glad to be here.
So cool. I mean, and if ever you have more time and we can make it work, we'd love to have you back on. Just chatting about stuff we don't ever have to chat about Moon Knight. We can talk
about Transformers.
I will say I do love that new comic run. The amount of people I've met online that is their first Moon Knight run. Like it's been like a massive boon now, and what a run, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great run. It's so and
a nod to it in this episode, like with Jake in the sarcophagus.
The sarcophagus,
a complete one that Jed would never have had any like that. That's just pure synchronicity.
Coincidence.
Yeah. Same K7, thanks for coming back. Yeah, Connorshu, there have been people asking. I do not lie. There have been people in the group asking about your whereabouts. They think that I've kind of
they've been trapped in an Ashabti.
Yeah, they think that I've entombed you
Rebecca
or something. But
a hand down a mummy's throat, and I came back.
Rebecca saved Connorshu out the gullet.
Honestly, I just unfortunate work times is the most thing. It's hard to be able to come with these, but a lot of that is changing soon. So who knows? You might just be getting sick of me once again.
Yay!
Okay. Thank you so much, Connorshu, and Rebecca. Again, as always, it's been great to have you on board, and Knol as well. I mean, look, reunion of episodes 1 to 4.
Should we watch them again?
Let's now. I want to do well, after it's all done.
Maybe it's a retrospective sort of.
Love to do like a watch party. Like a we'll get so Loonies if you're interested. Try to get a watch party happening because Rebecca, you and I talked about it as well. Like
we just been too busy to really organize. But we will definitely try and do it
once it's all said and done, and maybe we can play drinking games. How many Stevenisms or something like that? I don't know. We'll see.
How many times you seen the Moon Knight suit? You're gonna be pretty sober.
Exactly. Well, a huge thank you once again. Anyone want to shout out anything, Connorshu? Is anything you want to?
No, I shout the Middle Geeks podcast. That's great. Getting a Howard the Duck comic staring me down. I'm a little scared.
I'm listening to it at the moment, like not right now, but
yep. And Nola, I feel that I should be asking you next. Anything that you'd like to shout out? I can't shout out a beaver.
Howard gets it over on this beaver. Trapped in a World, the Howard the Duck podcast. Me and all of our friends, Russell, talk about great Howard the Duck comics and more. And Steve Gerber, more than that, the wonderful, weird mind of that dead ass genius.
It's a fantastic podcast as well. Go check out Knol and Russell. Always good banter. Fun times had. And a nice little dive into the comic. I've mentioned it before in one of the feedbacks, Knol. It's a very different comic. So it's really hard. It's not hard. It's just different to switch gears into it, but it's really worth it. So
it's not your normal. If you're a fan of Moon Knight, you won't necessarily love Howard the Duck. But I've turned Russell into a huge fan of Howard the Duck, so that's pretty great.
That's good. Yeah, fantastic. And Rebecca, anything in the pipelines with your?
I'm just gonna I do it, and I get to promote things more often. I'm good. Like just enjoy the next episodes of Moon Knight and give us all your feedback. And thank you all for giving us all the feedback you do.
Thanks, everyone.
And thanks to those who kept us company while we were podcasting. The sun is just coming up.
My gosh. So Rebecca is in some ungodly hour. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody. Everything in the show notes, credit wise and outro wise, you know the drill. But as always, may Connorshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.